Welcome to Screener to Stream It,
where we take a look at a movie that's in theaters now,
versus one you can stream at home,
and we try to decide which one should you go with.
Okay, so it's late Sunday night. We just finished the first episode of American Gods, and we wanted to give you our opinion of it. And my opinion is that it was kind of alright. Well, that's it for us. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Wait.
Okay.
You gotta give more than that.
Okay, so not really. So I thought what we would do is, I definitely think there's some really good things with the show. There's some things that concern me with the show, and we'll kind of give a final wrap-up of
our
recommendations.
Thoughts.
Should you watch it? Shouldn't you watch it? That sort of thing. So let's talk about some things we liked about the show. The first thing that really stuck out to me was the visuals. I don't know if you call that art design or cinematography or kind of all
production.
Production value.
Very, very top-notch done. Very well produced in every way. From the shots of the camera to the actors they cast, it's very well produced, and the art design too.
Well, and there were definitely some things in it where as I'm watching it, I'm thinking that's beautiful. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily from a beauty. It's not like a bouquet of flowers is beautiful, but like the way the shot was composed, the settings they used, the way it looks. I'm like, oh, that is so beautiful, and it's often gross and weirdness, but it was beautifully done. Also, without being all spoilery again, there was that one thing we all reacted to that was something I had never seen in a movie or TV show. And to give me something at this day and age that I had just never seen, and it was gimmicky and it was kind of dumb at the same time, but it was something visually I had never seen before.
Disturbing a lot.
And it actually may not be a good thing because it did kind of like pull you out of the actual scene.
I have a new personal fear.
But at the same time, they did manage to give me something new and different. And I guess the next thing would be the actual characters and the acting. Because I got Ian McShane to be Mr. Wednesday.
Oh, he was great.
Oh, he's so good. And, he appeared in Game of Thrones for, one episode?
Was he? What? Is he? Who was he in Game of Thrones?
Wasn't he the priest guy? With the... he had the convent, or not the convent, but he had the little prisoners.
Yes, where that one guy who we thought was dead showed up. Yeah. Haha, no spoilers.
But I remember watching him in Game of Thrones, and like this 3 seconds to him being on the screen, and I'm like, he's one of my favorite characters.
And
he's dead. Which is, kind of the way Game of Thrones works. But
I remembered him most recently from the John Wick movies,
yes,
which were delightful.
There's several John Wick characters, or people actually pop up in American Gods. But yeah, so I remember watching Game of Thrones. I remember watching Ian McShane and going, man, they messed up. They should have given me some more of this guy.
Right.
And I think we're going to get more of that guy with American Gods. So that's really good. The guy that is playing Shadow Moon, who is going to be our main protagonist,
looks like the protagonist,
from what we can tell, I thought he did a good job. And some people, the drunk girl, we even commented.
Oh my gosh, she played such a good drunk.
I don't know if that's
amazing.
a good thing or not, but she's got that drunk thing down. And some of the weird characters that show up, they were definitely weird characters, but they did a very good job of being weird characters.
There was nobody that stood out to me as being subpar as far as the acting goes. I believed all of them.
And when you have acting as good as, Ian McShane's character, it would be very easy to stand out, and it didn't. And I don't know if it's the storytelling. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if I want to call that a good thing or a bad thing, and I'm really confused, and I don't know what to...
They did spend a lot of time setting up a lot of questions and not really answering a lot of them. But that's okay, because now I'm intrigued. I want to know what's going to happen. What is even really going on? But they've set up a lot of these questions. So
and I kind of want to lean towards that storytelling as being a good thing, but I just don't know. Something else it does and totally me thing again, but it does what we can call them premium service channels, HBO, Stars.
Mm-hmm.
It goes down the checkbox. It's bloody, it's violent, there's nudity, there's graphic language, and it's really violent.
And we like
violence. But it's very stylized. There's a surprising amount of blood, I would say, in this.
Buckets for... Yeah, it wasn't bad. It was just surprising.
But it was very Hannibal, Spartacus-y, over the top, cartoony, stylized, very red. It's not like off-putting. I mean, because some of it was. I mean, they were people severed in half, and
that was very the skull split with the axe.
Oh yeah,
that
could have been like stomach-turningly gross.
It could have
but
been.
It wasn't the way it was done. It was more of a kind of, oh, neat, look at that type deal. So I thought that was definitely a good thing from it. You got anything else you can kind of throw in the, hey, I like that category?
Not that comes to mind immediately, because we talked about the action, the acting, the sets.
Okay, so let's kind of, the things we are worried about as the show progresses. The story.
Yeah.
So like I said, I could go either way. Right now, and it is episode 1, so you got to kind of take it with a grain of salt.
Mm-hmm.
But the story does not give you a whole lot of information. We get a lot of characters.
Yes.
Very strong, very unique characters.
They're interesting.
And we don't know anything about them. We just keep getting these little snippets of them.
Our protagonist.
Yeah, he pops
He's
up
the guy with the worst luck in the world because nobody tells him anything and all this horrible stuff is happening. And he has no idea, and it just gets worse and worse and worse for him. But he's interesting, and
there's been nothing to tell us where we're going. What are we trying to accomplish? We don't even know what the story is and about. It jumps locations. At some points, it jumps time periods, and it's I don't know where it's going.
I can remember offhand 4 distinctive things that were happening that don't seem related. I'm sure they are, but they didn't seem to be. I don't know. It was kind of strange. I'm not sure how they're going to bring all that together.
So I cheated a little bit and got a little information before going into the show, so I know some things that he does not, and I think it helps me clarify a little bit. But it's still weird and out there. And if you're somebody who doesn't have a background in it, you haven't read the books, you haven't looked up stuff online. Yeah, I could just imagine being completely and totally confused at where this is going.
Well, having not read any of that, I don't feel completely lost. I feel only kind of lost, which was how I felt while I watched Lost. Sorry, couldn't help that pun. Had to. But there was one point kind of in that really weird face hugger limo thing. I don't know what that was exactly. I'm not even sure that I want to describe it, but we'll call it the limo ride. There's something he said in the dialogue there made me think I've got at least a clue, and I could be totally off. I don't know, but it at least gave me something to hold on to. It's like, okay, I think this is what this is going to be about. But again, I don't want to spoil it in case, 1, I'm totally wrong because I don't want to look stupid, and 2, I don't want to spoil it.
In watching it, I had a really hard time trying to decide how are we going to rate this. Like, what kind of rating can we give it? Do we even want to rate it? If we do rate it, like, should we tell people to watch it? Should we tell people not to watch it?
Well,
so I don't want to give it a number rating.
I agree.
But to me right now, so I think this is the most important thing. Game of Thrones, like, I have HBO, and I have kept HBO to watch Game of Thrones. I could care less about their movie selection. There's plenty of other places I can get movies, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon. But I would pay for HBO to get to keep watching Game of Thrones.
Right.
Now, Westworld come out recently.
Which was really interesting.
Which was really interesting, and I really liked it. And if Game of Thrones went away and Westworld continues, and it continues to be as good as it was last season, to me, I would keep paying the extra for Game of Thrones, for HBO, in order to have that. If somebody doesn't have stars, which they have their stars on demand thing now you can pay for. If they don't have stars, is this something you would be like, hey, you should go get stars and watch this show?
Maybe. Especially if you're not offended by graphic flailing, nudity, and violence.
Flailing nudity just conjures a terrible image.
Well, you know, I want to make sure the warning is out there.
And for me, and so as I was, it kind of occurred to me about halfway through, and as I was watching it, I was like, boy, I hope it gives me something at the end where I can go, guys, you really need to go check this out. You need to watch this. And I think this is one of those things, if you have stars and you're paying for stars already, you should try it.
Absolutely.
And especially as more episodes come out and we get more of a story, we can kind of draw more of a direct conclusion. But right now, if you got it, it's weird, but I really like weird. That it is bloody and violent, and it, like all those little check boxes I like, and it's good for me. But I don't think I could tell somebody this is good enough right now.
Yeah, go buy
that
stars.
You need to go pay money to watch this extra. Now it might be.
Maybe.
It left enough room there that this could be something where I could be like, you really should get stars in some form.
Since you brought up Game of Thrones as a comparison, that one, the first episode, I was hooked and really just desperate to know what was happening next. This one, I'm not quite as hooked, but I am very intrigued to see where they're going with all this.
And I keep bringing up Game of Thrones because, I mean, they even had the TV commercial at the beginning. It was like dethroning.
Yeah.
It's, to me, very clearly Star's attempt to recreate that Game of Thrones magic. Like I said, I didn't read the books, so I don't know if the violence was necessarily that inherent in there, or if it was like, hey, Game of Thrones did that, we should do it. Hey, Game of Thrones did that, we should do it. They had naked people in Game of Thrones, we should have some of that in there. And some of it did feel kind of forced and totally unnecessary, but it could have been part of the story. I don't know. But I just really, from my standpoint, I couldn't be like, you need to go watch this right now.
Yeah.
If you have access to it, check it out. But I don't think it's worth at this point paying it. And like I said, 6 episodes down the line, 8 episodes down the line, that might be a different story. I might be telling everyone, you got to watch this. Or I might be telling everybody, don't waste your time. It just really didn't give us enough to go with. But that's my 2 cents worth, or
2 gold coins worth maybe, with the... if you watch it, you'll know what that was. But anyway, yeah, I agree with that assessment. I'd say check it out if you have easy access. Don't know that I'd say go buy stars, but yeah, definitely check it out if you like that sort of thing.
All
for
right.
sure.
That's it. If it's good, we'll make another one and tell you it is.
Absolutely.
If it's not, you may never hear from us again. Anyways, thanks for watching. That's it for us.
And remember, don't take your kids to the movies on Tuesday nights.
That's when we go.